Welcome back to My Dad Watches The Bachelor. I'm Meredith, and I'm here with my co-host, my dad.
Hello, Meredith. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing as well as one could be after spending last evening trying to go through 30 plus profiles of young men that look like Ken dolls. But go ahead.
Well, it sounds like you skimped out on us and really only went through about 23 of their profiles due to technical difficulties, but it's fine.
I blame that on the ABC Bachelor website, which seemed to have a flaw. And when I clicked on some of them, it kept sending me to the Lost link, which I think is their show, The Lost. But I did feel kind of lost. So that was appropriate, I thought.
Okay, well, we're back with one of my favorite episodes today. We're going to be going through all of Clare and Tayshia's men, or Dad, in your case, 23 of them, making some quick judgments based on very little information and choosing our final four, our winner, our first impression rose recipient, and our villain. Now, since we don't really know what's going on with Clare's part of the season, since it only lasted 12 days, we're mainly going to be focusing on our picks for Tayshia. So just bear in mind, things might go a little crazy the first few episodes, but our picks are really for Tayshia.
And I would just like to say that we're just reading bios that have been provided by ABC and the Bachelorette website, and any snarky comments that we make. I'll say we. I'll say I make. We apologize in advance. It's not personal. These people signed up to be on this show, so unfortunately, they probably get a few snarky comments. But it ain't personal.
We're sure that these guys are very lovely men, but some of them have very questionable bios, and we're going to call them out on it. That's fine. They're characters in a show now, okay? That's how we're looking at them.
Okay.
So should we get started?
So let's get started. I'll just say again, I'm always struck by, there are so many men. What is it, 30 or 31? How many men are on this show that the Bachelorette has to work her way through?
I don't know. I didn't even count. I think it's 30 or 31.
It's 30 or 31 in the first night, which sounds like an awful long night. She's going to meet all 30, 31 of them, and she has to tell how many of them to go home?
I don't know. Maybe like 6 or 7 or 8.
Yeah, that's tough, and you have to think through what sort of skills might get you through that night. It's probably, if you're a shy person or an introvert, that's going to be a tough night for you because you sort of have to elbow your way through this crowd and make some sort of impression. So it's a challenge. Looking at these bios, and this is a TV show. These are all attractive men, the handsome men that are on this program. They don't, I guess they're not going to let slobs onto this program. And Meredith, I tried to break it out in categories, and I came up with 3 categories of these men. Number 1, underwear models, just like people that you would, crazy model, handsome guys.
Okay.
2, nerds. And then there was a small category of Canadian granola heads. Those were the categories that I came up with. What about you?
I did not make them into categories. I did not know that this was a new requirement of the episode. I went through each of them, took some notes on their bios, made a few comments, and gave them a green highlight if I was into it and a red highlight if I wasn't. I do like your categories, though. I'll keep that in mind for next year.
Okay. Well, where would you like to start?
Well, I was going to start at the top with our good pal AJ.
Okay.
So AJ's 28, software salesman from California. Is he in your nerd category?
He is in my nerd category, yes. And my comment to him was he wants to be intellectually challenged. So I wrote, why is he here?
Okay, well, Claire and Tayshia seem like intelligent women. He's probably never been in a situation where he's been on reality television dating, so that could be challenging for his mental health, you know?
Yeah, I don't see him as a contender. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, my comments for AJ learned how to make candles during quarantine and can double Dutch rope. He sounds like an elementary school girl, and I said my only comment was meh.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, moving on. Ben, 29, Army Ranger veteran from Venice, California, went to West Point but returned to civilian life after a back injury and is now a personal trainer. Is he in your underwear model category?
He is in the underwear model category. Yes. And I wrote one of the things in his bio was wants a wife who will stay emotionally available, and I just wrote wrong place for you, buddy. So he's not in my. I don't see him as a contender.
Yeah, his favorite indulgence is also an ice bath, so he's definitely a psychopath.
Okay. Well, we appreciate his service, though.
All right, Bennett is a 36-year-old wealth management consultant from New York City. He grew up in Atlanta and attended Harvard. I didn't really have much to say about him based on his bio. He seemed pretty arrogant to me. I don't really know where he would fit in your categories. Nerd?
No, I thought he sort of looked devilishly handsome. I put him in the underwear model category. I wrote great hubris, potential Claire winner.
Oh, really? I actually have him as my villain choice.
Okay, well, I could see him going either way, and again, knowing that there are two girls and my very limited knowledge of them, I don't have him as a potential Tayshia winner. I sort of saw him as a potential Claire winner.
Okay, yeah, I put him as my possible. I did choose him as my villain, and I think it was 100% just based off his face.
Okay, well, there you go.
Okay, so we're moving on to Blake Monar. I might be saying that last name very, very wrong. He's 31 and a male grooming specialist from Phoenix, Arizona. Played Major League Baseball for 2 years, suffered an injury, and now operates a cosmetic company. Thoughts?
Yeah, so and if you look at his picture, he's got some pretty funky looking hair, and which, and I put him in the underwear model category, but it just sort of struck me that if you're a male grooming specialist, I guess maybe that's a cool hairstyle. It looked to me like he just woke up hairstyle, but he. One of the things on his thing was he loves to take his mom shopping. Just to me didn't sound like the right guy for this gig.
Well, so I think there's a difference between a male grooming specialist, as his job title says, and owning a cosmetic company, which his bio also says. So, which is it, Blake? Because a male grooming specialist sounds a little inappropriate to me. However, it does seem very pertinent. Like, the number of mid-20s guys that I know with below average hygiene is actually ridiculous. So I think he's gone into a market that has a lot of room for growth, but I just have never met a male grooming specialist. It was very intriguing to me.
Okay, well, yeah, that's good. We got 30 of these to get through, so you better hit the highlights.
Okay, Blake Moans. That's not a great last name. 29, wildlife manager, Ontario, Canada. I'm guessing this is your Canadian granola man.
Yeah, I thought he seemed like a really nice guy. Very outdoors loving. He's from Canada. Wants an outdoorsy woman. Not sure if. Don't know.
Tayshia does not peg me as the incredibly outdoorsy gal.
Yeah, he said all my friends are. It came off as all my friends are married. I need a wife, which doesn't sound like a compelling argument for to me. So not on my short list.
I agree. He also said that he loves Ninja Turtles as much as Ninja Turtles love pizza. I don't know anything about Ninja Turtles, but I don't think I'd want my 29-year-old possible future husband to know much about them either.
That's
Moving on,
yeah.
Brandon, 28-year-old real estate agent from Cleveland, Ohio. Um, do you have any hot takes on him?
Well, I kind of liked Brandon as a potential initial rose candidate or impression rose candidate, first impression rose candidate.
There you go.
Um, Great abs. He says that he likes older women. He's 28 and Claire is 39.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one of the things he does say is that he wants to be his own boss, which for this particular show strikes me as not a characteristic that's going to have you there at the end. So I sort of saw him as a candidate for the first impression rose, but not a Final Four candidate.
Well, to me, Brandon seems like your typical hot guy douchebag. Like, would I swipe right? Absolutely. Would I regret it the moment this guy hit me with some cringy pickup line about how good he is in bed? Absolutely. I'm not into Brandon. He just seems like he'd be a douche.
All right. Well, when you start talking about swiping, these are not conversations that really you want to have with your dad. So let's move along.
Okay. Brendan, 30-year-old commercial roofer from Massachusetts. A sensitive soul who likes to make a woman feel desired. I'm getting real tortured artist vibes from this guy, and I think he's going to get bullied a lot.
Well, yeah, I agree. I wrote, sensitive soul, signature look is a turtleneck. Nope. No, he did fit in the underwear model category, but don't see him as being long for the show.
Okay, next we have Chasen, 31-year-old IT account executive from San Diego, California, and this guy is a hunk. What a hottie. So,
He was a swimmer growing up, so swimmers are generally people.
yeah, he's probably got a great bod.
He probably has a great bod. He's definitely in the underwear model category. My comment there was wants a happy marriage like his parents who have been together for 35 years. Too much stability expectations for this show, but initial rose candidate and first impression rose candidate.
Yeah, he even once swam from San Francisco to Alcatraz wearing only a pink Speedo, which is something I'm sure a majority of Bachelor Nation would have loved to seen. But I also Googled the distance from San Francisco to Alcatraz swimming. It doesn't seem like that long.
I think the issue there is that the water surrounding there is very, very cold. So, if you're a prisoner trying to escape from Alcatraz, it usually did not go very well. But good to see that you're doing your research.
Oh, lots of research over here. Big Chasen girl. Love to see it. I hope he goes far. I want to see him on my screen as much as possible.
It sounds to me like you want to see him without a shirt, but go ahead.
I mean, I wouldn't complain. Next, we have Chris, 27-year-old landscape design salesman from Salt Lake City, Utah. His life goal is to travel to 200 countries, and he has 180 to go. So it sounds like he's not going to accomplish that goal. I have no strong feelings toward this man.
I wrote, there was a note in there that he's one of 4 kids, all who have genius level IQs. And I wrote, no, what are you doing here? So, and one of the things said that he likes to go camping, but he won't stay for more than 3 days. So it sounds to me like commitment issues. Definitely an underwear model, but not a winner for this in my book here.
I agree. Okay. Dale. Dale is a 31-year-old former pro football wide receiver from Brandon, South Dakota. 4 years playing in the NFL, afterwards moved to New York to pursue a career in consulting for sports wellness and lifestyle brands. So I personally enjoy watching football. My fantasy football team has yet to win a game. We don't really need to get into that. But as a football fan, I looked into his NFL career because, former pro football wide receiver, that sounds pretty impressive. He has no stats on the NFL website. via Wikipedia, he was signed to the Green Bay Packers, was on their practice squad for like a few months, released, was on the Buccaneers practice squad, released, was on the Chicago Bears practice squad, released, was on the Panthers practice squad. I don't think he was actually a former pro football wide receiver if he never went and played a game, is he?
Well, if he was paid by a professional team, I guess you can technically say that you were a professional wide receiver. But it sounds like he would fit well on your fantasy team this year. But you know, anyway, he seemed he seems like a handsome fellow. I guess he's athletic. He's certainly a contender.
Yeah, but his favorite game is Hungry Hungry Hippos. That's a terrible game. It's so loud, and the hippo's butt lever always pinches you when you play it. Like, why? Ugh, I don't like it.
Well, he's a tough receiver. He can take a little pinch here and there.
A
Anyway,
pinch from the hippo butt lever.
he wasn't in my top four, but he seemed very fine to me.
Okay, moving on. DeMar, 26-year-old spin cycling instructor from Scottsdale, Arizona. Dream job is to be a DJ on the Las Vegas Strip, which does not really sound like husband material to me. What about you, Dad? Thoughts?
It doesn't sound like husband material for my daughter, no. But as I read it, the fact that he likes to explore restaurants, sip cocktails, I wrote perfect for this show, potential winner, candidate for STD Island. So, I suspect we'll see more of DeMar.
Cool. Easy, 29-year-old sports marketing agent from Newport Beach, California. He played in the NFL for 4 years, now sports marketing agent. I spent a solid 60 seconds Googling his NFL career and didn't see anything, so I gave up on that.
I'm just impressed that you figured out their last names. I haven't done that yet, so good for you.
Oh, no, I couldn't figure that out either. I was like,
Okay.
Easy, Bachelorette, NFL, nothing.
Okay.
It wasn't worth more than 60 seconds of my time.
Well, the fact that he said one of the things said nobody hypes Easy better than himself made me wonder if he would be a candidate for the first impression rose, because to me that's sort of the type of person that would do it. One of the things says he wants to make his family proud, and which made me say, no, this is not the place to be to make the family proud. So although he's an underwear model, probably not a potential winner.
Well, the only thing I really liked about him is that he's seen every single episode of Grey's Anatomy, which I really respect. I'd love to hear his take on Karev leaving Joe for Izzy and his babies, because it's something I definitely didn't see coming. Moving on, Ed, 36, healthcare salesman from Miami, Florida. I thought his bio was unremarkable. The only thing I noticed is that he's bad at multitasking and planning ahead. So I'm not really interested in that, like multitasking. He seems too simple-minded for me.
He does like all-inclusive resorts, which again, to me says he's probably a good fit for this program, but I don't really see him going that far here.
Yeah, I agree. Garen, 34-year-old professor of journalism from North Hollywood, California, and he teaches at the University of Southern California, which is not the real USC. Fun fact for all of our listeners. He studied abroad in Ghana and spends his free time planning and hosting a local concert series. Thoughts?
Well, number one, I put him in the nerd category, but the fact that he's an extrovert, talks about his energy level, I sort of thought he's a contender. I sort of liked Garen.
I also sort of liked him. He seems like a good guy.
Yeah. So
Ivan,
he's sort of on the short list. Go ahead.
He's also on my short list. Ivan is a 28-year-old aeronautical engineer from Dallas, Texas. The only thing I wrote about him is that he's a recovered Croc enthusiast, which it's okay, Ivan. Like, we've all been there. I had Crocs when I was a child. Dad, you're currently still a Croc enthusiast, so you'll recover eventually.
I don't consider myself an enthusiast, but I do have a pair of Crocs and will use them for walking the dog and other chores. And I wrote the fact that he seemed self-deprecating, which, if he's sharing the fact that he's a recovering Croc enthusiast, I gave him some points for that. I like that. And the fact that he's an aeronautical engineer, 28 years old, to me sounds like a smart guy. So I sort of liked him.
Okay, okay. Moving on, we have Jason, 31-year-old former pro football lineman. At this point, I gave up trying to find anything on their NFL stats because these guys aren't real. Arlington, Virginia, stopped playing football due to too many concussions. Now works in IT staffing and solutions. I personally wouldn't go for Jason. He's probably going to have a rough time as he gets older, being able to comprehend thoughts.
Yeah, I understand that, but the fact that Tayshia is a phlebotomist makes me think she's got some medical background, to some degree. But and the fact that he's a big guy, great sense of humor, I thought he might stand out a little bit. So I had some interest in him.
Okay. Jay is a 29-year-old fitness director from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He says, if you can't put your phone down for more than 5 minutes, you may not be the person for me. Nothing annoys me more than being on a date with a woman who's half in the conversation and half scrolling through Instagram. And I really hate to break it to Jay, but he's come to the wrong place. This is the mecca for Instagram influencers.
Well, also, as I'm sure you noticed in his bio, he loves Duke basketball. So I put that he's a loser, and actually put some other words in front of the word loser. To me, he's a candidate to be a villain.
Because he likes Duke basketball?
Well, he's already a villain, but yeah.
He does kind of have that rat look about his face, just like Krzyzewski. Maybe they're related.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to Jeremy, 40 years old, and he's a banker from Washington, D.C. He's the oldest contestant to ever come on The Bachelor. I liked this guy. He spends his time mentoring children with disabilities, developed a love for painting during the quarantine, hates Instagram models, not really sure if he's aware of what he signed up for. And his love language is witty banter. I like all the things that he's saying.
He seems like a nice guy. To me, the fact that he's 40, which I don't think is old, but in terms of
I do.
You do, and I would think most the people on the show would see him as old. To me, he might be a candidate for Claire, but probably not for Tayshia. So, when he geeks out on haunted attractions, I sort of put him in the nerd category. So I don't, maybe Claire, he's not in the final four for Tayshia, I don't think.
I agree. Joe is a 36-year-old anesthesiologist from New York City, spent most of 2020 fighting coronavirus on the front lines in New York City and is a COVID-19 survivor. He was once voted top 20 most eligible doctors and medical professionals. And his favorite childhood game is Scrabble, which is much more impressive than Hungry Hungry Hippos.
He also has done triathlons. My comment was maybe too accomplished for this show, but he is marrying material. So, potential winner.
He seems too serious for me. You gotta have a little fun, be a little goofy to do well on the show.
Yeah, so...
Okay, next, Jordan C., 26-year-old software account executive from New York City. He dreams of having a dog named Maverick. Jordan, dream bigger, buddy.
That's exactly what I wrote. And the fact that he also seems to have a pain-in-the-butt sister. So I put dream bigger, underwear model, really to me didn't seem like a candidate.
Agreed. Jordan M., 30-year-old cybersecurity engineer from Santa Monica, California. He's 6'8", which is just excessive. Um, I could never imagine dating a man that's over a foot taller than me. That's just like I would feel like an actual child. I don't think that Tayshia is going to go for it. However, he does idolize Barack Obama, and his favorite Sunday activity is cleaning. So I do think that we would get along well.
Is that what you do on most Sundays?
I do enjoy a clean home. Okay.
Okay, all right. Hey, that's as far as I'm concerned, that's good parenting. But he's also a little shy. Uh, you know, seems like a nice guy, but I don't see him as a contender.
I agree. Too tall. Kenny, 39-year-old boy band manager from Chicago, Illinois. But he's a talent buyer who creates and manages boy band cover bands. So it's not like he's managing the One Direction, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys of the world. He's managing boy band cover bands. He also hates cheese, so he's probably a monster.
Well, and in his picture, he's sort of like his shirt's semi unbuttoned, and it looks like he's sort of sporting a big chest tattoo. I'm going to go ahead and spoiler alert it for you. He is who I've chosen to be the villain. I can see him being the villain this year. Boy band manager, and
And he hates cheese. We are big cheese lovers here.
We're a big cheese family. He talks about he's often misjudged by people. I could see that as sort of a red flag of, you're going to be meeting a lot of people. You're probably going to rub somebody the wrong way, and they're misjudging me, but you're sort of being a jerk. So I'm going with Kenny as my villain.
I respect that choice. Okay, Mike, 38-year-old digital media advisor from Alberta, Canada. Proud member of the Shania Twain fan club, and refuses to acknowledge that season 8 of Game of Thrones ever aired. Personally, might be a bit like of a controversial opinion here. I didn't hate season 8 of Game of Thrones. Might have been because I didn't start watching until right before the season came out, so I wasn't waiting 2 years for it. But like, Arya killed the Night King, bro. Like, that was badass.
Yes, and he seems like a nice guy, a little interesting. I sort of had him in both the Canadian and nerd categories. He sort of seemed to have one foot in each of them. Seems like a nice guy, but didn't strike me as one of the top picks.
Okay, fair. So now we get into where you started to have technical difficulties.
Yep.
So we next have Paige, 37-year-old chef from Austin, Texas. He's a single dad, but he can't relate to people who love football. I don't really know if Clare or Tayshia like football that much, but like I really like football, so I'm out on Paige.
Yeah, and that's as I said to you before we started taping, I've never met a man named Paige. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just seemed weird to me. So sorry, Paige. I'm not going to be able to support you.
Okay, fair. Okay, Riley is a 30-year-old attorney from Long Island City, New York. Practices medical malpractice and knows all the lyrics to Call Me Maybe and is a karaoke legend. I don't really have any hot takes on Riley. I don't really think he's gonna go super far. He seems very middle of the road to me.
Yeah, sounds like an ambulance chaser, so not that good.
Robbie is a 31-year-old insurance broker from Tampa, Florida, played baseball at Florida State, and now splits his time between Tampa and Los Angeles, which seems odd to me. He's quote-unquote sentimental because he still has a blanket that his first girlfriend made for him. If I was any girlfriend after the first one, I would not be a fan of that. I wouldn't be like, you're sentimental. I'd be like, you still love her. Let's get rid of this blanket. And his move when he's into a woman is to walk up to her and casually say, hey. Robbie seems like a bore, so Do
I,
better, Robbie.
that doesn't seem like a great move, he's listed as an insurance broker.
Mhm.
I'm just not sure that's what these ladies might want to bring home. Hey, here's my future husband, the insurance broker. I don't know. Not that exciting. Not that there's anything wrong with that as a vocation, just for this particular show. Not so crazy about it.
Okay, Tyler C., 27-year-old lawyer from Morgantown, West Virginia. Initial thought, this man will go nowhere and he will never live up to the hype that is the OG Tyler C., aka Tyler Cameron. Dad, do you know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea, but go ahead.
He was the runner-up in Hannah Brown's season, and he's our new bachelor, Matt James's best friend. New Tyler C. is a Matthew McConaughey stan and hates snakes. He could eat Thanksgiving dinner year-round. And my post-bio thought is that I'm totally right. This man is nothing compared to our Lord and Savior, Tyler Cameron.
Well,
I don't want him to make it past the first episode because I do not want there to be which Tyler C are you talking about? Obviously, we're talking about Tyler Cameron.
I think your opinion here sounds even more irrational than most of mine. The fact that I kind of like the fact that he can eat Thanksgiving dinner throughout the year and doesn't like snakes. That sort of resonates with me. But this isn't. I'm happily married, so I'm not gonna have an interest in him.
It's a normal thing. I don't think many people enjoy snakes, and like everyone loves Thanksgiving dinner. If you're gonna give me turkey, mashed potatoes, and gravy, and some rolls, yeah, I'm gonna eat it.
All right. Well, what else you got?
Tyler S., 36-year-old music manager from Georgetown, Texas. He is the brother of country singer Granger Smith, and Tyler is his manager. I'm a big country music girl, so this definitely popped out to me. In Tyler's spare time, he likes to plant trees, fish, and work with organizations fighting to protect wildlife. He just seems like a good old Southern boy. And while listening to the radio, Tyler prefers to listen to AM over FM. I literally don't even know what kind of channels are on AM. We just need to get this guy a Spotify account.
Yeah, I mean, he looks, he's 36 years old, which, again, is that from an age perspective, does that make more sense for Claire or for Tayshia? I don't know. He certainly seems to have underwear model potential, and also it sounds like he's got a little granola potential. I don't know. He could be okay.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him, but it might just be because of the country music stuff.
Yeah.
Next, we have Yusuf. I think that's how you pronounce it. 30-year-old medical device salesman from Daphne, Alabama. Single dad with a 4-year-old daughter. I was a little confused on the math behind his bio. It says that he was 24 when he had his kid, and he's now 30, but his kid is 4.
It's fair question. I don't know if he's bad at math or the folks at ABC are bad at math. I mean, I was having website issues, so I wouldn't put it past the ABC people, but that does seem strange there. But again, he's a handsome fellow as well. And since I wasn't able to get into the specifics of his bio, I don't have a lot of thoughts there.
Okay, well, he's never been on a wine tasting, and as a kid, he loved his Velcro sneakers. I'm not sure why he would include this on a profile for a dating show.
Yeah, that seems
pretty irrelevant. Zach C. is 36, and he's an addiction specialist from Haddonfield, New Jersey. He is sober and has started a recovery program focused on helping reintegrate people back into the world after rehab. He gets his news from reading the morning paper, which I thought that you would like. And he loves desserts, but if there's fruit on the plate, he's not eating it, which I totally agree with Zach, because fruit is not a dessert. That's a health food. We don't need to mix our fruits in our desserts.
Well, the only thing I'll say there is, and certainly respect the fact that he's an addiction specialist and he is sober. I worry about situations he might be put into in this particular show, and that getting through some of these sessions to me requires a stiff drink. So I think he's going to be around a lot of people that are at least enjoying alcohol. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts and deals with some of that.
Well, he's also, you're not going to like this, Dad. He loves Philly sports and dreams about sharing a Philly cheesesteak with his future wife while watching the Eagles win a Super Bowl. I think that we're on the same page where we think Philly sports are overrated. We do not like them. The Eagles fans throw snowballs at Santa Claus. We do not condone Philadelphia sports in this household.
Okay, I'm with you on that. So, for some reason, I was able to see the last bio, Zach J., the cleaning service owner. He's 37 years old from Utah, and very explicit, saying that the reason he's coming on the show is that he has a crush on Claire. And he says he's fun, he's clever. To me, again, 37 years old, could be a match for Claire. And again, some of these people might have come onto the show with the understanding, hey, you're going to get to meet Claire and date Claire, and it looks like this is why he is here. So I put him down as a potential first impression rose receiver.
Okay. See, my initial thought was that he was like a pretty hot guy, but then his bio was just a total snore. Like literally nothing even worth discussing about it.
He's
Like
from Utah.
by the looks of him, I thought he was going to be top 4 material, but turns out he has no personality.
Well, he's from Utah. They might be a little blander there.
Okay, so those are all of the men vying for Claire or Tayshia's heart. We really don't know at this point. We have no idea how this is going to work. So, Dad, who is your first impression rose recipient?
Well, I've mentioned a few of them.
We have to pick one.
Okay, I'm looking at the ones that I put out as potential rose. So I guess the one that I'm going to go with is I'm going to go with Chasen,
Whoa.
the swimmer who you thought was the really hot dude. Again, I don't see him winning because he's looking for lots of stability. So, and I don't think this is the place that you're going to find it. But I'm going to put him down as the potential first impression rose person.
Well, I have also chosen Chasen as my first impression rose recipient. I think he's super hot. And I don't know if it's Claire or Tayshia that's going to give him this rose, but they are going to appreciate his attractiveness. He also really wants a woman who's a conversationalist, which I think in the days of like social media and us always being on our phones is like something that not everyone's good at. So I think it's a good sign that that's something he really looks for in a woman.
Okay. Well, I'm just pleased that I can think like you in these situations.
Yeah,
I guess
I'm kind of
I don't
surprised.
know. Okay. All right. What's
Okay,
next?
so your villain pick. I know you told us, but tell us once more.
So so number one, I did say that Jay is a villain and he's evil in that he's a fan of Duke basketball. But the one that I am picking for my villain is the boy band manager Kenny, who says he doesn't let things slide easily. He says he's ready to get married because he's almost 40. Seems to be hiding a big tattoo on his chest, often misjudged by others. To me, I think he's my pick as the villain.
Okay. I respect that choice. Mine is Bennett, the 36-year-old wealth management consultant from New York City. He just seems super arrogant, and I'm basing this choice solely off of his face. He just kind of looks like an evil stepdad type of vibe that I get from him.
Okay, I could see that one. Yeah, he seems, as I said, he seems to have some arrogance about him, and I think his bio said something about he's never really had to worry about chasing women because they always come to him. So, I think arrogance could certainly lead to villainy.
Exactly. Okay, top 4. This is where things get good. I'm excited to hear your top 4, Dad. Who is your first guy in the top 4 for Tayshia?
All right, so my first one is Damar, the spin cycling instructor from Scottsdale. Again, if I would say I would say to you know, to Claire or to Tayshia, he sort of fits this particular show. If I was talking to my daughter, I would not be that excited about him being a candidate. But Damar is my first choice, or not necessarily my first choice, but one of my finalists.
Okay. Okay. My first top four, Jason, obviously. Super hot. Like, we want to see him get to the fantasy suite at least. Like, I don't think I need to say more. I feel like I've gone on about him enough. Jason is in my top four.
Okay. My next one is Garen, the journalism professor. Just extrovert, runs concerts, lots of energy. I just sort of liked him, so I picked Garen.
You know what? I also picked Garen in my top four. I don't necessarily think it's realistic. I don't think he's one of the hottest guys that are on the season, but he seems like I just really like his personality, and I'm hoping that will shine through.
Okay, I'm with you there.
Okay, who's your third pick?
Ivan, the recovering croc enthusiast, who to me I liked the fact that he seems to have quite the career. He says intelligence is a huge aphrodisiac. The fact that he seems self-deprecating about Crocs, handsome fellow, seemed to be a combination of the underwear model and nerd category. So I like Ivan.
Okay, I think that's a good pick. My third pick is Blake Monar, the 31-year-old male grooming specialist. Played Major League Baseball, so he's fit. And I'm also like, there's just something that intrigues me about the male grooming specialist. I guess I really like a guy with good hygiene. Like brush your teeth without being asked. Just keeping things clean. I like it. I think he's cute. He's got a good look to him.
Yeah, he was the one with the hair messed up. If you're telling me that there's now a vocation to help young men remember to brush their teeth, I do think we're all doomed.
Oh, we definitely are all doomed, but lucky for you, you're not in the 20-something dating scene anymore like I am.
All right. All right. So my last one, and this one, you're probably this one's a little bit of a off the wall underdog.
Okay.
Is Jason, the former pro lineman. I don't know the fact that to me he's probably a big guy. He's going to stand out. I like the fact that he's got a great sense of humor. He says he has an amazing laugh. I guess we'll see. But to me, I just thought he was going to stand out, so I picked him as my final finalist.
You think he's standing out? I think he might stand out due to his brain damage from all of his concussions. I guess
that's not going to kick in for 15 years or so.
I don't know. I mean, like if you look at Rob Gronkowski, like he's probably had a lot of concussions. I can see some brain damage there already.
Yeah, but you'd certainly like to spend time with Rob Gronkowski. I'd like to spend time with Rob Gronkowski. That'd be fun.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to marry him.
I wouldn't. Yeah, okay.
He's the fun guy that you take to your sorority functions in college. He's not the guy you bring home to your parents.
If you brought home Rob Gronkowski, I would enjoy meeting him. So feel free.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. My last pick is Tyler S., the 36-year-old music manager from Georgetown, Texas, Granger Smith's brother. I think he's going to go far because he's celebrity adjacent, which seems to work well. Aaron Rodgers' little brother, Jordan Rodgers, won JoJo season. He also seems like a genuine nice guy, works for organizations fighting protect wildlife. He plants trees. He listens to AM over FM. He just seems like a simple country boy. I think he's going to do well.
Okay, sounds like a fair pick, and I enjoy the music as well. So we'll look and see how he does.
Great. So who is your winner pick for Tayshia?
Well, if you made me pick one, I think I will go with Garen. But
You
But
think personality is going to outshine looks?
well, he's not an unattractive person.
No, he's not by any means, but compared to the rest of the guys, I would say he's bottom tier.
Ouch. Sorry, Garen. Uh, yeah, that's ultimately, if you're actually interested about getting married, looks get you to a certain point, but then you have to be compatible and have an interesting partner. So I thought Garen best fit that bill.
Okay, my winner is Blake Monar, our male grooming specialist. I really don't feel confident about this pick at all. And I can't tell you why. It's just a gut feeling. He seems like a cute guy. I'm intrigued by his career. I'm really hoping he can hold a conversation. I think he's going far, or I think he's going home night one. And I really don't think there's an in between for him.
Well, I wish him luck. He raised some doubts in my mind with his bio, and but again, I'm not on the dating scene, so I'm not totally sure what people are looking for these days.
All right. Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see who's right. I'm definitely, I'm 1-0 on our top 4 picks. I did much better than you last year, but I have a feeling that you're going to do better this season.
Well, if it is, it's totally accidental, but I hope so.
So, you have any final thoughts that you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I think we've probably done a longer podcast than many of our listeners will endure. So I think we could wrap it up, and I guess next week the show starts.
Yes, the show starts on Tuesday, so everyone gets super excited. Come back next week to hear all our takes on the first episode and all of the limo entrances for Clare and Tayshia's season. And you'll, of course, get to hear it from the right perspective and my dad's.
Sounds good. Talk to you next week.
Bye.